Hi everybody, I'm Tanishka. You might know me as the Moon Woman, and this is my Astro Oracle transmission for the approaching full moon in Taurus. So the sun is in the opposite sign of Scorpio, which is encouraging us to transform through feeling intensely. Okay, so this can feel like we're a cat on a hot tin roof, yeah, that life feels uncomfortable, that we're being pushed, you know, like a mustard seed being heated up in a hot pan. We're cracking up under the pressure, but it's all divinely inspired so that we make the shifts that are necessary from the inside out. So let's have a look at what's going on with the transits. Now, because the ruler of Scorpio is Pluto, which is, you know, in Greek mythology, Hades, Lord of the underworld. This is a time when we're more likely to see the shadow looming large. That's, you know, the unconscious behavior that comes often from immaturity, from wound. It's the things we don't even know that we're doing that often sabotage us, that limit us. And this will be coming to the fore at the moment. So we may feel overwhelmed by the shadow of the world, by what we see as wrong on the planet, or we might feel overwhelmed by the bad behavior of people. But the challenge is to really see it in ourselves and to speak up and to risk everything, to be true to your core values, which is what Taurus, the opposite sign, which is what this full moon that we're approaching is in, what our values are directing us to do, so that we are in integrity, we are speaking our truth, we are walking our truth, we are being 100% authentic. So we're not, you know, being two-faced, being nice to someone and then behind their back bitching about them. Yeah, this is about really making sure we're walking our talk. So it is a time, as I said, of intense emotion, but especially anger, because the sub-ruling planet of Scorpio is Mars. Now, Mars is a fiery planet. It's further away from both Venus. Yeah, so Earth sits between Venus and Mars, but Venus is closer to the light of the sun. So Mars can be cold, yeah, like stainless steel, and ruthless in being that shut down and cold. Yeah, we've got this societal expectation that we're cool. Yeah, that's because Mars has been more dominant than Venus on our planet, because we've been eclipsed by the shadow. So this is an opportunity for us to see where we unwittingly create conflict, which is shadow Mars, for ourselves, for others, how we create war, how we create pain through our unconscious behavior. And we might feel really angry about the shadow behavior that we see acted out in ways that aren't responsible, like a volcano, because, you know, when the sun is moving through Scorpio, it evokes the archetypal energy of the wild primal feminine. You might know her as Lilith in the Hebraic tradition, as Oya, the goddess of storms in the African tradition, as Sekhmet, the lioness goddess in the Egyptian pantheon. She's Kali Ma to the Hindus, but it's all the one aspect. Yeah, she governs the base chakra, and she cannot tell a lie to keep the peace. She will upset the apple cart to be true and to call out the shadow where she sees it. So often people can fear this aspect, this soothsayer, this truth speaker, but she is necessary. She is a harbinger of change, a force of nature, like a storm. And it is necessary that she, you know, may unwittingly blow things apart. Now, this is intensified by the fact we still have Eris, who is sometimes referred to as the 10th planet. She is a planetoid, so halfway in size between a planet and an asteroid like Chiron, and she is still square to Pluto. So that's a 90-degree angle. That's a challenge. She's posing a challenge. Face your shadow. So she's calling out the shadow. She's demanding change. She is bringing in chaos by saying what you're doing is not okay. So she is an agent that deconstructs what is not sustainable, what is not honoring of the sacredness of life in the everyday world, by addressing what is sitting beneath in the unconscious, in the underworld of our psyche, our subconsciously driven behaviors that we're not aware of. So Mars has got a few really big aspects coming up as we approach this new moon. Mark in your calendar the days November 2, November 5, my birthday. So, on November the 2nd, we have Mars appearing on top of Pluto, so conjunct. So you can imagine the getting together of Mars, this fiery planet which when out of balance creates war, rather than right action, on top of Hades, god of the underworld. So bringing all the misuses of power up to be seen. So this day we might feel rah, you know, and so this is a good day to go to the gym, to get your rah out in suitable ways, so that you're not taking it out to the streets in the car, and, you know, creating potentially combustible, dangerous, reckless situations. The other date, as I said, November 5th, this is when the Mars squaring Pluto will be exact. Okay, so, you know, this is going to play out in the signs of Mars in Libra. So there's a little bit of leeway there because that's the peacemaker. Yeah, if there was a war on, Mars in Libra is the one negotiating peace talks. But with Pluto and Capricorn, this could really bring up father issues for people, okay? And issues around power and control and how that's impacting our relationships. Now, if we're going to harness this energy positively, this is a really good day for focused intention, yeah, for moving forwards with our goals, for taking right action. Now, little piece out of my own experience, I've been struggling to transmute all the shadow that I've been focusing on as I've been writing a book, the book on the Grail, which is my next book, about the shadow of the world and what we need to do about it. And I went and serendipitously ended up at a waterfall on exact new moon, and I stood under the water pressure that was the most intense I've ever been under, and it pummeled all the neck knots and shoulder knots and back knots, which was all the held rage within my body. Feeling much better since. So my advice to you, if you can get to a water source, remembering that even though Scorpio tends to be fiery because of that sub-ruling Mars, it is a water sign. And that anger is usually masking grief, because this is a very psychically and emotionally sensitive sign. So it needs to get that intense emotion out to restore equilibrium. So getting in a huge, vast body of water, such as the ocean, that's where I'm going to be on my birthday on November 5th, boogie boarding for the day in the ocean. Yeah, these 2 days, November 2nd, November 5th, if you can get under a waterfall or in an ocean, yeah, powerful bodies of water, harness the element of water to help you transmute emotional toxicity, okay? If you cannot get in the ocean, or if you're in the Northern Hemisphere and it's frozen over, not the ocean, obviously, unless you're in the polar ice caps, but you'd hope they're frozen. Then, you know, get in a hot bath, yeah, get to a wet sauna, you know, a steam room. But if you can, harness the energy of water to soften. So as we move towards the full moon, which will be exact for those on the progressive side of the date line, that is the early hours of November 13. Okay, an auspicious date when we consider 13 has been demonized, but that was because it was sacred to the ancient feminine wisdom traditions due to the 13 lunar cycles in a calendar year. For those of you on the latter side of the date line, this will fall on November the 12th, all right? So on the doorstep of the full moon, the gateway that is 1111, all right? This is, if you will, the pillars of the Aquarian age. Every time we move through it each year, we step more into the frequency of the Aquarian age, which is oneness, which is coming together to unify, to galvanize people power, to take back our sacred sovereign energy. Okay, now I spoke in detail at the end of my new moon in Scorpio video, which you can find both on my YouTube channel. Okay, so just go to themoonwoman.com and click on video blogs to access that. Or you can access it on my Facebook Moon Woman page by clicking on videos. I speak there about atonement, okay, because 1111, these are two master numbers, 1111. And what they refer to is somebody who has raised their energy, their two twin serpents, okay, those inner rods of masculine, feminine energy consciously from the base to the crown to become a master of creative power, of Kundalini, all right, of manifestation, because they are humble enough to submit completely to the universal one of all existence. So if you're wondering how to do that process, I map that in my book, Creating Sacred Union Within, all right? But this is an opportunity for us to focus our energy in creative visualization, with sacred ceremony, with meditation, with prayers of intent, sung, chanted, spoken, written down, visualized, on creating the world that we want to live in, okay, rather than you know, reacting in fear to the world that is the result of our past choices, our past karma, which has been very much rooted in fear. So I posted on my timeline last night a wonderful documentary made by Sasha Stone. It is called 5G Apocalypse. It is a very important offering to the global community. It is free. You can Google 5G Apocalypse on YouTube. Please watch it. Please share it. It rolls out with very informed, scientific, medical, and ex-military experts about what 5G entails and why it's being rolled out. In a nutshell, it is using our bioelectricity, yeah, the electromagnetic field of us, of the earth, against us. It is, you know, a vibrational weapon, okay, that once installed can and will, if it is installed, annihilate all living life forms on this planet. Slowly, but yeah, undermining health on all levels. So it is an opportunity for us not to contract into fear, but to expand into our true magnificence, our true potential, by harnessing the electromagnetic energy that is within us and that is within the earth. All right. So this is a time for us to remember the ancient practices of raising our Kundalini safely, step by step. And again, I outline this in my books and courses, so go and check out the Inner Goddess Makeover for Women, the Inner Goddess course for women, and Creating Sacred Union Within for men and women on my website, if you want more info about that, as well as the meditation albums that I have. But the best thing that you can do, right, for 11/11 is to raise your electricity within your body through an act of love, through self-pleasure, through lovemaking with your beloved, and dedicate your raised energy, your climactic energy into the grid, the energy grid, the electromagnetic field of the earth, all right? It is also a very potent window to do this on November the 8th. This is the exact mark, which is halfway between the equinox and the solstice. This is the astronomical true Halloween or Beltane, the festival of death, halfway between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice for those of you in the northern hemisphere, and Beltane, the rites of spring, the halfway point between the spring equinox and the summer solstice for those of us here in the southern hemisphere. So here in Ubud, there's Halloween dance parties and, you know, people not understanding that we are in the southern hemisphere, and so we follow the seasonal chakra points, the 3-day vortices of heightened energy. And if we understand the lesson of those, then we harness that and we send that energy as a gift into the Earth Mother, which strengthens her electromagnetic field, as well as our own personal power and electromagnetic field. This is the best way, apart from turning off your Wi-Fi, unplug the modem overnight, folks, to give your nervous system a chance to unwind and try and have at least one day unplugged, getting back to nature to relieve your nervous system by defragging it with negative ions, which is what we find in nature. So that's especially important for those living in urban environments. Or if you're in you know, a high rise that has many, many smart meters. This also really significantly raises your exposure to electromagnetic pollution. So please do watch the end of that last video with the comments that I make about atonement. I speak about this in the Grail book as well, that oneness, you know, everyone's seeing 11/11 on their alarm clocks and odometers and, you know, clocks and things. This is the wake-up call to join with the collective as a force for social change, for positive change. But we're not going to do it through just, you know, meditating and being in a state of bliss together. We also have to atone. Yeah, at-one-ment is atonement. We have to be responsible for our shadow behavior and the effects of that onto others. So do check out that last video if you want more info about that. It's new moon in Scorpio, and as I said, you'll find it on my YouTube channel and in the video section of my Facebook Moon Woman page. So I feel that it's especially important that we look at how we can atone to enter into this doorway as we prepare for 2020. 2020 is, you know, we look at the numerology of that, 2-2. It is time to come together, to balance polarity, to integrate light and dark so that we can move forwards together as an integrated force as one. Otherwise, the shadow elite will try and use separation, divide and conquer, the old tactics of Rome, which ruled our value system in the last 2,000 years, to divide and conquer us. But we have the power to heal this. Now, getting back to the full moon, you know, these are potent windows, both November 8, November 11, okay, the 11/11 gateway, so Beltane, Halloween, 11/11 gateway, and the full moon on the 12th to 13th of November, to be just even 5 minutes of focusing your energy on how you want the world to look, how you want your world to look, all right? Because, you know, we have Saturn sextile Neptune, which is dreams coming true. The full moon, as we're in this 2-week, you know, energy waxing up to that point of the full moon, Taurus is the sign of abundance, yeah, of manifestation. So this is a very powerful window. So this is a wonderful time to focus and celebrate and be grateful for the abundance of the majesty of Gaia, our Earth Mother, to eat outdoors, to bless your food, to commune with nature, with the elements, to restore your own well-being, and to take action on helping to restore her well-being, on the understanding that we are her, we're fractals of her. So the more we exercise self-love and we look after our health, yeah, health is the new form of activism, yeah, with chemtrails and electromagnetic pollution and vaccinations. I mean, really, to be informed and make decisions for our health so that we are not exterminated by the shadow covert actions of the shadow elite is absolutely imperative for future generations. Now, fortunately, this full moon is a very stabilizing, grounding force, which is very important when we consider Sun moving through Scorpio, you know, activating our Kundalini potentially as rage, which can act out destructively. So this is a time to really plant our seeds, to take practical action, to ground our visions, to manifest with love what the change that we want to see in the world. And with Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto now direct, that's supporting us to move forwards with that. We also have Moon with Uranus in Taurus. So we can still be experiencing a lot of sudden changes, things that we didn't see coming, that we thought were secure. Okay, these may be to do with online platforms that we've used to host, you know, whether it's online courses or Facebook, you know, sudden changes. Those of you that follow me will know that I was banned for a week for no legitimate reason. My Schoology courses, the videos have just, you know, all of a sudden not become accessible. So we're dealing with that. Had staff suddenly leave due to earthquakes, needing to find safe ground. So there's, you know, a lot of potential sudden change. And with the Moon and Uranus both in the same sign, we can react emotionally to sudden change at the moment. So the antidote is be kind to yourself, do self-loving things, things that really make you feel good, particularly in your body, such as swimming in the ocean or having beautiful pampering treatments, self-loving baths with candles and salts, yeah, and essential oils, beautiful meals with friends. This is a time to really, you know, just calm ourselves with soma, soma being the essence that we extract from the pleasure of communing with the 5 earthly senses. So what else do I want to say? Oh, on November 19, Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, which has a 12-year cycle, so every 12 years it ends up exact at the galactic center of our solar system, which is at 27 degrees in Sagittarius. So this is another potent day for focusing on manifestation, for doing sex magic, which is positive harnessing of this polarity of Scorpio Taurus, all right, which we think about. Scorpio is the mystic. It's the phoenix that transmutes all the pain to become this magical bird that is born out of the crucible of fire, okay? And it's multicolored. It's like Quetzalcoatl, the winged serpent, yeah? And then Taurus is the earth, yeah? So this is about creating heaven on earth, but understanding through the alchemy of love, through our bodies, there is a force, Kundalini, that lies within us that is more powerful than any weapon of mass destruction, okay? And it is generated through love. So this is, you know, about us harnessing our power at this time to transform hell into heaven on earth. So I hope, you know, that is inspirational for you. If you need any more inspiration, well, we've got Neptune in Pisces and Mercury forming a trine, a very harmonious, helpful aspect to Neptune, which is an opportunity for spiritual bliss, spiritual communion, access to the higher realms, to download insights. This is a beautiful time for writing poetry, creating visionary art, and meditation. So, you know, this is a time to ascend by transmuting the shadow within us through conscious Kundalini raising practices and lovemaking with intention. So the sun will also be sextile to Pluto this full moon, helping to illuminate the shadow so we can identify the ways that we've sabotaged ourselves and kept ourselves powerless in the past. And on that point of taking back our power, today is the official launch date of my initiation challenge, all right? So what does that entail? You will know that I was guided to create a 3-part masterclass series called Initiation, the Sacred Power of Blood, Sex, and Death. And that was filmed when the sun was moving through Scorpio last year here in Ubud. Now, to mark its anniversary, I'm relaunching this on a new platform. And I've got a questionnaire that those of you who've previously purchased this series, you can access this via the link that I'll be posting with this video. Similarly, if you haven't heard about it or you haven't seen my masterclass series, you can also click on that link and find out more how you can be part of this social initiative, this social experiment to collectively confront our fears, to go down into the bone closet, into the basement, to look at the skeleton in the room, to look at that which we fear individually and societally, and to reframe those taboo subjects of blood, sex, and death that through exposure to them catalyze a loss of innocence and take our psyche down into the underworld. And without adequate mystic initiation to understand the sacred power of blood, sex, and death, the psyche can remain trapped in the underworld, leading us to experience depression and to act out unconsciously, re-wounding ourselves and wounding others when it comes to blood, sex, and death, resulting in compulsive addictive behaviors such as addiction to pornography, sex addiction, all forms of addiction, which indicate a lack of integration with these 3 taboos. So if you'd like to find out more, click the link, and it's only going to be for 3 weeks while the sun is moving through Scorpio. It's a potent time to start this for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere experiencing Halloween, traditionally known as All Hallows Eve or Samhain. So maybe, you know, have a screening at your place of the sacred power of blood, and then in a week later, the sacred power of sex, and a week later, the sacred power of death, and jump onto our members only closed forum to share your journey with that. Okay, so that's everything. Blessings on these power dates that we have. Please share this video. The more people that harness these vortices, the better. And that we use the power within us rather than fearing that, you know, the powers that be have power over us, because when we tap the power within us, we can transform our world. So blessings, everybody. And yeah, may you have a beautiful approach to this full moon. Blessings.